name is Adina. You guys are Beyond the Veil with Adina. I am so happy to meet you all on this Monday, this day of the moon. Happy Monday to all of you. I hope that your day is starting off well. I hope it's a great start to the rest of your week. I hope that you're blessed. You have a clear mind, free of anxiety, worry, stress, or depression, and that you are ready to be the best that you can be this week. If you are new to this channel, I am your resident hostess with the mostest and your resident medium, oracle, psychic, reader, diviner, prophetess, priestess, woo lady, whatever you call us these days. And we do divinations around here. If you saw my title, it is titled Necromancy Monday. So if that is not your thing, I invite you to leave just as peacefully as you have come. Please do not disrespect my community. And if this is your thing, welcome to Beyond the Veil. And I hope that you find yourself amongst like-minded individuals around here. To all of my returning viewers, subscribers, blessed babies, OG viewers, and bush watchers, happy Monday to all of you. I will give a couple of you guys a time to come on in, and as you do, please let me know how you're doing. I am happy to greet you on this Monday. So as you come in, please just let me know how your day is going so far. Hey, Jay the Steez, how are you? Happy Monday to you. Thank you. I'm well. I don't like that I think that my channel is under some kind of block because as it's 2 minutes into this live, you're the only person here, and that's very weird for me. I don't like that, but what can a girl do at this moment? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that you are just getting over a cold. Feel better. Please, feel better. All right, so I won't hold you guys as it seems YouTube is holding me. Um, I have come because it is Necromancy Monday. It's a little bit early, but I have members' lives to do later on. So I kind of wanted to just pace myself today. And the two readings that we're going to do on this Necromancy Monday is on Asha Asia Degree and Alexis Ware. I actually have already done Asia Degree, and it's one of the earlier videos on this channel. I did it years ago, and I still get a lot of comments on that. And so I kind of just wanted to take a look into it again to clear up some things. Maybe I'll see some things that I missed or didn't see at that time. But as I was trying to remember Asia's name, I kept thinking Alexis Ware. And so I thought, well, since her name pops up before Asia, because once I said, okay, I'll do Alexis, then I remembered Asia Degree's name. So I thought, okay, I'll do Alexis Ware as well. I don't think I've ever discussed her on this channel. And so I'll go ahead and begin. All right, let me Florida water my hands and then let me pull up some information on Asia Degree so I can catch you guys up if you aren't familiar with her and her case. It is a very, very cold case. All right, so I'm just going to pull up Wikipedia. Oh, that's probably why I keep thinking and people keep bringing her up, because her disappearance was on Valentine's Day, 2000. So on February 14th, 2000, Asia Jaquilla Degree, a 9-year-old from Shelby, North Carolina, United States, disappeared after leaving her family's home during the early morning hours. For reasons that remain unknown, she packed a book bag and walked along North Carolina Highway 18 in heavy rain and wind. S- Several motorists reported seeing her. When one driver attempted to approach her about 1.3 miles from her home, she left the roadside and ran into a wooded area. Her parents discovered her missing later that morning, and she has not been seen since. An extensive search located some of her personal belongings near the area where she was last observed, and in 2001, her book bag was found buried at a construction site along Highway 18 in Morganton. A billboard now stands at the point where she entered the woods, and her family holds an annual walk from their home to the site to maintain public awareness of the case. Although early circumstances suggested the possibility that Degree had run away, investigators found no clear explanation for such an action and later concluded that she had been abducted after leaving the home. The case has received national media attention. In 2015, the Federal Bureau of Investigation joined state and county authorities in a renewed investigation and offered a reward for information leading to a resolution. In February 2005, the case was reclassified as a homicide investigation, and suspects were publicly identified following a series of searches. Just a little background into her family life, because based on what I saw in my previous reading on this, I just want to have you guys keep some things in mind. Harold and Iquilla Degree, her parents, married on Valentine's Day, so she disappeared on their anniversary. Her parents married on Valentine's Day in 1988. Their son O'Brien was born a year later. Asia was born August 5th, 1990. The Degrees raised both children in their house on Oakcrest Drive in a residential subdivision amidst a generally rural area north of Shelby, on the western edge of Charlotte. Both worked regular jobs nearby. Harold, her father, was a dock laborer at Pittsburgh Plate Glass, and Aquila worked for Kauai America Manufacturing, building pianos. The children let themselves in after school, where their parents expected that they would either be doing their homework or finish with it by the time they returned. They made sure their children were insulated from outside influences and had a life centered around their family, church, and school. It is said in other places that the Degree parents were very strict and very religious. They made, the Degrees did not have a computer in their house. Every time you turned on the TV, there was some pedophile who had lured somebody's child away via the internet, her mother, Aquila, recalled in 2013 via a Jet interview. Hey, one of one. Aquila said Asia handled this well. She was cautious, shy, and content mostly to stay within the limits her parents set. She was scared to death of dogs, she later recalled. I never thought she would go out of the house. On February 13th, a Sunday, the children went to church from a relative's house and then returned home. Around 8 p.m. that night, both children went to bed in the room they shared. Almost an hour later, so that means around 9 p.m., February 13th, the power went out on the neighborhood after a nearby car accident. The power came back on at 12:30 a.m., at which time Harold, Asia's father, checked on his children and saw both Asia and O'Brien asleep in their beds. He checked again shortly before he went to bed at 2:30 a.m. on February 14th and again saw them both. So he checked on his kids twice in a 2-hour period between 12:30 at night and 2:30 So, literally 2 hours, in between 2 hours on the dot, he checked on his children before he went to bed at 2:30. It was his anniversary. It did not say after he and his wife went to bed. It said after he went to bed. So I assumed that the wife was probably already asleep. Shortly afterwards, O'Brien, then age 10, recalls hearing Asia's bed squeak. He did not further rouse himself, as he assumed she was merely changing positions in her sleep. I don't believe that. Apparently, around this time, Asia got out of the bed, taking a book bag she had previously packed with several sets of clothes and personal items, and left the house. Between 3:45, I do believe that. I believe her bed squeaking was something else. And it said that the brother didn't even bother to turn around. I think that's because he knew what it was and didn't bother to turn around. And after that, Asia got up and ran away. Even in a storm, she ran away. Between 3:45 and 4:15 a.m., a truck driver and a motorist saw her walking south along Highway 18, wearing a long sleeve white t shirt and white pants just north of its junction with Highway 180. They reported this to police after seeing a TV report about her disappearance. The motorist said that he turned his car around because he thought it was strange such a small child would be out by herself at this hour. He circled 3 times and saw Degree run into the woods by the roadside and disappear. It was a rainy night, and the witness said there was a storm raging when he saw her. County Sheriff Dan Crawford said, "We're pretty sure it was her because the descriptions they gave are consistent with what we know she was wearing." He added that they also saw her at the same place, heading the same direction. Her mother awoke at 4:45 a.m. to get the children ready for school that morning. This involved drawing a bath for them because to take they hadn't been able to take one the night before due to the power outage. When she opened the children's room to wake them up before their 6:30 alarm and called them to the bath, O'Brien was in his bed, Asia was not, and Aquila was unable to find her in the house or in the family cars. She told Harold she could not find their daughter. He suggested that Asia might have gone over to his mother's house across the street. Interesting because it was 4:45 in the morning. He had checked on her allegedly the last time at 2:30, so only 3 hours had passed by in the midnight hour in a storm. Why did he just assume that she left? Why was he not alarmed? When Aquila called there, her sister-in-law said Asia was not there. That's when I went into panic mode. I heard a car next door. I put shoes on and ran outside. Aquila called her mother, who told her to call the police. By 6:40 a.m., the first police officers had arrived on the scene. Police dogs called to the scene could not pick up Asia's scent. It was a raging storm, so that makes sense. Aquila went through the neighborhood calling Asia's name, which she said awakened everyone by 7 a.m. All right, so let me skip to some more information. What Wikipedia does not mention that other articles does is that the father left that night sometime, I'll say between 10 and 12, because that's when it said he checked on his kids, because he had to get his wife some Valentine's Day candy. Hold on, let me see if I can find that specific detail. One second. Went to get candy. Okay, here it is. On the night of February 13th, 2000, before 9-year-old Asia went missing, her father Harold reportedly left their home around 11:30 p.m. to buy Valentine's Day candy, returning to watch TV, not go in the room with his wife because she was already in the bedroom. And it was also their anniversary. So he left at 11:30 p.m. to buy candy, returning to watch TV and check on the children before going to bed around 2:30 a.m. He checked on the kids at 12:30 and then 2:30 before he went to bed. But in that 2:30 checkup is when the brother said he heard Asia's bed squeaking, but he didn't bother to turn around and look. Immediately after he heard her bed squeaking, Asia got up and ran away in a raging storm at 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay. So now I will say that the family was vetted and they are still alive to this day. To my knowledge, they're still holding these annual walks and stuff like that, and they maintain their innocence. Okay, so let me just begin. Let me Florida water my hands and I'll hop right into it. I don't expect to see too much different from what I saw the first time I read on this, but I do expect to see some things a little bit better. All right. So let me actually, because I came prepared to set the mood, honey. I got some incense. Since this is a Necromancy Monday, I'm going to call Asia. Hey, April. Okay. All right. This is incense to entice Asia. Let her know that this is a safe place. And all right, let's go on a trip, you guys. Most High Mother and Father God, please allow me to conjure up the spirit, soul, and collective energy of Asia Jaquilla Degree. Please allow me to conjure up the spirit, soul, and collective energy of Asia Jaquilla Degree. Asia. 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 Asia Jaquilla Degree. Asia. Hmm. April, I'm glad you're here. I told you you smell you smell like the dead. Not like that. Not in that no shade, but I told you that you have a lot of friends on the other side. You should you should connect with them a little bit more. They're willing to help you. I told you this before. They're willing to help you the same way they helped me. You just gotta, reach out to them. Spend some time with them. Maybe you should go back into that work. Mm-hmm. Mm. Asia Jaquilla Degree. It's been 2020, 26 years since you disappeared. Almost 26 years to this day. We're just a few days off. Asia, what happened to you? What happened to you on February the 13th that caused you to disappear by the wee hours of February 14th, 2000? What happened to you? What became of you? I hear crying in a little girl's voice, but Asia, she's not a little girl anymore, even in spirit. Her spirit has even matured, but it's a separation. Maybe Asia is in a whole new body. So, what's left, what I'm picking up of her experience as Asia Degree is the little 9-year old girl. So, it's almost like I'm talking to a different version of Asia, maybe a growner one, a more healed one, allowing me to, and she's telling me about what happened to little girl Asia. I hear life was cruel to her, so much pain and so much pressure. She says that the detectives have always had their suspicions, but they've never been able to prove them. There may be some discrepancies about the time that Asia was known to not be there, what time they assume she left, and what time she actually really left that house. They say it was at about 3:45. I believe it was around 2:30, 2:45 actually. The father went to check on them allegedly the last time at 2:30. The brother said he didn't look, but he heard her bed squeaking. And shortly after that, he heard her get up, pack her bags, and leave. Or he heard her get up, but he might have assumed she went to the bathroom or something and stayed asleep, as if this was something familiar to him. It was a raging storm, and the father said he went out at 11:30 to get Valentine's Day candy, as it was his anniversary with his wife. But when he got back, he went to watch TV. If he left at 11:30, it says that he went to check on his kids at 12:30 and then went again at 2:30. They said that Asia must have left sometime around 3:45. I don't believe that. I believe the timing is off. I'm curious about if the father was able to provide any receipt for the candy he bought to confirm that he went at 11:30, and so that they can kind of tell what time he might have come back, because I think there's a discrepancy. They would get that information from the parents and the sighting that they saw. But who's to say that the person who saw her might have saw her but wasn't even really sure of the time, but he knew that he saw her in that vicinity of time. So let's see. Asia, what happened? I don't think Asia had a good home life. When they say that the parents kept an insulated household, that's a nice way of saying they were very strict. They didn't allow computers. Ironically, the mother said it's because of pedophiles. She didn't want them to have a computer. Of all the things, pedophiles. Interesting. So they could watch TV, go to school, go to church. Asia was on the basketball team. They actually had a game that Sunday on February 13th. They lost. It is said that Asia was very upset because of the loss. But after church or after the game, they went to a family member's house. And Asia was with her cousins and she was fine. Asia Degree, tell me what happened to you to cause you to disappear and be unalived. It's been 26 years and your case is no longer missing. Your case has been ruled a homicide. I can see that you're no longer Asia Degree anymore. So what happened to Asia? Asia is no longer with us presently, but she has risen again in another body. The Asia that I'm speaking to is mourning for Asia Degree for many, many reasons. Welcome, Zach. I can't really focus on the chat right now. I see a lot of religious activity with this Pope here. Notice even kids here, children. This is a girl and a boy. It could be two girls. Can't really tell. No, it's a girl and a boy. You can't really tell their genders, but it's two kids right here. Asia and her brother. This is a parent who is so religious that they pray everything away. They faith everything away. This is a religious parent, in my belief, who is praying still about the death of their child. The thing about this, though, is that this priest here understands that even he must meet death, but he's hoping and praying that in some way he can trick the system. He'd be an exception. Look at how I've served in this in this religion. Look at how faithful I've been. Dear God, please, 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 please. Yet it comes anyway. This means no matter who you are, in an esoteric sense, no matter who you are, you meet death. No matter if you are rich, a priest, a child. Ironically, this is a man that's already been trampled by death. Two kids, in my opinion, this is Aquila. This is a brother who turns the other way, like he did in his sleep, to deal with the trauma. He got to grow up. This is Asia, who is getting stepped on by death, and a man who's already been trampled. Challenging. It seems like there's been so much evidence and so many different people and elements involved over the years. However, it's been to the benefit of one person. This seems like it became sensationalized in their community. Everybody started pointing fingers, and that benefited the one man, in my opinion, who did it, because he was able to lay his burden on everybody else who got brought up as suspects, as, in the theories and the allegations. It's almost luck. It's almost luck the way this situation happened. I believe something like that, Dalish, or right after he said he came back. But I believe his timing of going to the store, checking on the kids, and her timing of leaving is off. And again, why would he check on them twice in 1 hour, in 2 hours? If he is in the living room watching TV, that means he's somewhere close to the door. They all right? Past position. I think that the investigation had hit a dead wall. And I think that one person really, really, really looked good to them, but they just could not make it make sense in a way that they could charge this person. So they had to assume that there's something else that they're not seeing. So they had to go and investigate further. But initially, they were really interested in one person. They thought they were actually, in my opinion, they thought they were going to arrest the father, or they thought that the mother was going to unravel. But it all never happened. The way the coincidences and the ironies in this seem to have taken place is amazing. 10 of Pentacles in reverse in her future. This is her never being found in a community that kind of, in the sensation of it all, kind of start looking at everybody and everything. But really, there's only one story that makes sense. That the people closest to her are the best ones to tell what would have happened to her. I believe that she has relatives to this day that are not telling certain things. It's not related to her disappearance, but it's related to her circumstances, her day-to-day circumstances, her family circumstances. I think that the person who did it is still alive, but the fact that other people are now suspects and things like that, they still get to stand on a hill of kind of like defense. They said other suspects have been identified, none have been arrested or charged officially with anything. That's because none of them did it. None of them are responsible for her death. I will say that. One person is, and that one person benefits, again, from other people being looked at. This is my father card. I was trying not to say it out loud because I knew the Emperor was going to come out, but I thought it was going to come out in reverse. Underneath, in the crowning position, the one person who's responsible, who benefits from other people being suspects, so below that is my Emperor card. The Emperor and the Empress in this deck are the mother and the father. And he's upright because to this day, he gets to sit comfortably, walk in annual vigils, but he's the only person who makes sense. His activities that night, aligned with her activities that night, are the only thing that makes sense. It was not just Valentine's Day, it was he and his wife's anniversary, but she was in the bed asleep. He went out to get candy and came home and sat on the couch and watched TV. Why was he not making love or sleep with his wife? But he was up watching TV and checking on the kids twice between 12:30 and 2:30, he says. So twice on the hour. And that second time, the brother said he heard her bed squeak. It's not really that difficult to figure it out. It's just difficult to evidentiarily make it solid. Somebody's still lying to this day. Somebody that is more concerned with their partnership and how they might look and their complicity. There are two victims in this situation, and that is O'Brien and Asha. Asha, the first victim, the brother collateral damage. I see brainwashed children, religious brainwashed children, brainwashed children. Imagine not having a computer and telling your kids it's because of pedophiles. Pedophiles are going to get you. It's pedophiles out there. Why was that such a thing in their home? Why was only pedophiles such a thing in that home? Why was the concern pedophilia and keeping them away from the idea of it? Something could have been made to feel like it was normal or not a thing. But being exposed to the internet, that's different from TV because you can monitor what your kids are watching. The internet in 2000 was a new beast. You can't control what they're saying to other people either. They lived an isolated life, church, school, sports for Asia, and home, but besides the family who lived on that same street. Perfect situation for some things to be going down in a home. And when the children are mentally brainwashed to be afraid of the consequences of telling, more fear of telling their truth and the consequences than actually going through with it, then you get a situation like this. And you get a situation where a child might be so traumatized that they get up in the middle of the night in a raging storm and run away from something. And the father was the only one still up that night. The poor brother, in my opinion, he's permanently altered and traumatized, and he'll never tell. If Asha had a grown up, she would have never told about some of the trauma she was experiencing, in my opinion. Hopes and fears. The hope for Asha, in my opinion, is a trial and a conclusion. But that's a fear for somebody else, obviously, the person who did it. In my opinion, this baby girl was taken advantage of. In my opinion, it was Valentine's Day. And instead of spending it with a grown woman, somebody spent it with her. But that's just my opinion. The outcome is an ongoing investigation. And that after a long time, it's recently become an active investigation after kind of being cold. let me start with the Emperor here. And then I'll move on to the Death card in her present position. Asha, talk to me about this Emperor here, the father of the tarot deck. I'm going to turn off this incense because this incense is Queen of the Nile, a grown woman. And now all of a sudden it's starting to make me sick. The smell of a queen when I'm getting ready to read the Emperor is starting to make me sick as it relates to Asha. Again, I think she was being treated in some regard like she was a woman. Emperor, what do you have to say? Not treating her like a queen, a sexy queen. Oh dear, that fell out. Let's just... Look, behind the Emperor, the Empress in reverse. This tells a lot. Not only was she asleep, but she was, in my opinion, all of this is my opinion. I'm reading picture cards. Father, mother, emperor, empress. She's in reverse though. So she went to bed. And in my opinion, I don't think that they had such a lovey-dovey relationship. I believe energetically, he checked out and she turned a blind eye. I believe there were often occasions when she would go to bed and he would stay up to watch TV until the wee hours of the night. I believe that him checking on the kids was regular. For him, though, not for her. I believe the only time she checked on the kids after bedtime was when she woke up to get them up for school. I believe, though, a part of that was her being willfully negligent to him. This is him sitting up in his recliner every night or twice a week or so. It's a thing, though. So she's expecting him to be up all night. And even those few times over the years when she's heard squeaking in Asha's room, and then he'll go to the bathroom and then come in the bed with her, and then Asha will go to the bathroom. She became accustomed, in my opinion, of staying asleep just like little O'Brien did. Now, here's a mother in reverse. Here are two children, also in reverse. Now, this is past history. There's an older child here. There's a younger girl here. The older child actually looks like he could be a boy when this is obviously a girl. This was a thing, in my opinion, in the household. Mother being willfully ignorant and using going to bed. The father should have been following behind her soon after. He would stay up, sitting up, watching TV. She's not. And he would go in and check on the kids. Now, in my opinion, there is empathy and inner grief with this boy about his sister. There's a shared secret silence here. That's what this flower is. There's a shared secret here that they have between each other. And something wasn't right in that household. Look, this is the whole family right here. Father, mother, children, household. Look at that. The problem is in the house. Now let's move up. Cleo could never. Let me block you. Thank you, April. death. Happy Valentine's Day. That's what it was supposed to be. In my opinion, her death occurred because of this. The lovers. Interesting. You know, sex is said to be the mini death because of the orgasm. I think something like that might have been traumatizing to a little girl. This is the Valentine's Day going out to get candy. This is the candy that he said he went to purchase. Behind the death card, though. This is a pentacle, so it's a purchase. The lovers. So this death card has something to do with lovers and a purchase. This is a coin. Lovers and a purchase behind death. There's a lie there in those details. The death and the going out to get candy, that's where the investigators should have pricked at. The only thing that would have made it difficult is if the father said he didn't have the receipt and the stores didn't have any cameras. And that could have happened. That could be a thing in their small country town in Shelby, North Carolina. And it might not even really been Shelby. It might have been like a little small, you know, a little small town within Shelby. Let's look into these details, though, about the candy purchase and the lovers. There's something in the milk that ain't clean here between the person who was victimized and two parties who had the ability to make or give those statements. I think I'm about to add some people to my Tuesday list. Tuesday finna be packed. Three of Swords in reverse. Interesting. This is the father saying he left. He's on the same white horse, though, as the angel of death. So this is the father saying he was going out to get candy. These are also the sightings and things like that and the people who saw her. So my opinion, the discrepancies came in between the timing of him saying he left to go and get candy and the time that they said Asha probably left. They're the only ones who can confirm what time, approximately what time she was found missing. They said around 4:45. But that's what time the mother noticed she was missing. What time did the father notice? Because he didn't go to bed until 2:30. That was 3 hours before she was supposedly found missing. And we know that he was up, allegedly going to the store from 11:30 and didn't go to bed at 2:30. 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30. So he was up watching TV for 4 hours on Valentine's Day and his anniversary. After going to buy candy for Valentine's Day, why not go in the room with your wife? Why did you stay up for 4 hours, allegedly, and check on the kids twice in between then? That is where the discrepancy came in. His story with going to get candy and all the people who saw her. Now, this is her running away. This also is her running away, too. This is her getting away from something. This is her trying to release herself from some sort of miserly situation here. This is her leaving, allegedly, in the middle of the night. And here's a queen behind it. The Eight of Pentacles. There's some... Look at that Six of Wands. The Moon. There's some lie and some disillusionment between timing. Again, between the time her father went to the store and the mother woke up, there's some discrepancies, but only the father can clear that up. Discrepancies, even about the time the mother or she was found missing. The mother doesn't know about her being missing until 5:45. I can't remember where the 3:45 came in at. She might have also been found. Somebody came looking for her after she left. The same person who went to the store to make that purchase, though. He went from making a purchase as the Page of Pentacles to now a knight, actively. Now he's on a mission. The knight is on a mission. Let me look at this knight here. What are you carrying? Oh, this is going to get the candy coming back and going into Asia's room. Oh, we got the knight, the page, the knight, and the king here. This is the same person here. Started out going to get candy, allegedly, if he ever left. But I see a knight actively going in to a sleeping person's room. And in my opinion, this is a father, but he's also the king. The emperor is here. So this is the father presenting himself as a king, as he should with another queen, not a little girl. This king, Three of Cups here. This is a good time, a celebration. And there were 3 people in that room. Daddy, Asia, and brother. And they were all awoke. The brother was woke. But he knew better. He knew better than to say anything. And he grew up knowing better than to go against the clan mentality there. And so he grew accustomed to ignoring the activities that went on in this room with those 3 cups. Even when he was questioned, he did not bring it up. But in my opinion, he was aware, because he shared a room with his sister, of some things going on in that room. Let's look at this party. The meeting in the bedroom. Disgusting. Look at this innocent child. This is what led to her death. Her being naked, probably torn, ripped. I see blood. I think this is why she ran away. Unplanned, unafraid of the circumstance. Anywhere was better than where she was. Because of this king. This is a lover man. Somebody was making love to her, in my opinion. And his wife, his counterpart, the Queen of Cups, was always in reverse. Always in goddamn reverse. This one, you can't trust the Queen of Cups in reverse, just like you can't trust, you can't trust the Queen of Cups in reverse. Can't trust her. She'll lie. She'll believe her own lies. She's delusional. And that's dangerous. Speaking of lies, he wasn't alone. Somebody wasn't alone on one of their trips out of the house. This is a cup of codependency when this should be independent. Saying you alone went to purchase something from a store, I don't think Papa Bear was alone. And him saying that he went to the store was a good excuse for leaving the house, for him being out of the house. Two people left that house that night, Papa and Asia, in close proximity of each other. I don't believe he left alone. That is a lie, according to my opinion. Eight of Pentacles in reverse. This is getting rid of things. If he did not leave alone, then he went looking for her after she left. At some point, she must have been back in it. This is getting rid of evidence along the way. From the 9 to the 8, getting rid of evidence, pentacles, including her. In my mind, this person kind of rolled down the highway or around random places, throwing her things around in random places. If we can pinpoint what time the father really left the house, then you can pinpoint that. I think he took a trip that night, but I think the excuse was to get candy. And I think some of the timing is off. He's the only one that can corroborate that. The wife was asleep. That's why she didn't say he left the house at this time and got back at this time. He said he left the house at 11:30. He said he stayed up and watched TV. He said he went to check on the kids at 12:30 and then again at 2:30, and then he said he went to bed. The only thing we hear from the mother is when she woke up at the usual time to get them up for school and didn't see Asia. I believe he was out that night getting rid of evidence and Asia, and I believe he scattered the evidence around. The candy wrappers that they found in one of the neighbors' barn or something like that, I believe he just scattered information, evidence around in various places and successfully got rid of her. Now let me see where you are, Asia, or where you were. I see a wooded area. They said somebody saw her run off into a wooded area. They're not the only one who saw her run off into a wooded area. Ironically, where's the Chariot? She was afraid. Not as much of the other people, but of one person here. And she ran away to get away from a devilish situation. This is abuse. And it's sexual abuse. Since it's the same people that you see. Where is it? Where's the Lovers? And the Lovers. So it shows how when relationships are consensual, the difference between a consensual relationship, this is Gemini, so it's consent, agreement, versus a bondage relationship, one that you don't agree to. That's what she was trying to get away from. She might have been caught by the same person she was trying to get away from. A family situation behind this devil. A family member. She was put in some woods somewhere, heavily vegetated woods. Would have been very difficult to find her. I see search parties here. They were close. Some of her, some of the evidence that was spread about was collected. And the people whose property it was collected on was one of the people that was investigated. Now there's the chariot. I think she did leave, trying to get away. I believe somebody came after her to retrieve her again, and she did not get away completely because they came back to look for her. I believe it's her father. There's a mother and a child here, and a father. I believe that the father left home and to look for Asia after she ran away. He wouldn't sleep that long to hear her leave out of the house. The brother even heard her. Who's to say he didn't get up and tell that Asia was gone? Let me look in this chariot. The person who did this, the abuser. We officially, besides the King of Swords, have almost all the kings in the deck out. And all the kings in the deck make up the Emperor. This is a sexual man, though. I believe that Asia had been sexually abused and she ran away. I believe she immediately ran away, though. I don't believe, I think she might have waited 10 minutes. And I believe people in the house heard her leaving and immediately got up to go after her. Travel, travel. The same person, though, who did it immediately, this is swift action, got up to go and get her. The high priestess here. This is where the mother comes in, because I believe she was aware of some things, like hearing a lot of activity, a lot of movement in her house. There's also a silence. Only the initiated can know the truths of the high priestess. I believe she knows that her husband is a low-down dirty dog, but she's delusional. She chooses to be. And here she is again. Now, I don't even know how I got the Empress back in my deck, but here it is. And there we have the story of Asia Degree. Unfortunately, there are other people who have been looked at as suspects, but the whole time, the call was coming from inside the house, in my opinion. Thank you, Asia. Thank you, Asia. Thank you, Asia. You may depart in peace. Moving along, unfortunately, Alexis Ware. This is another one that's weird because of the details. It would seem like there would be one person that's responsible, but then all the details came out and nobody's been charged or anything. So it's weird. All right, just to give you guys a brief summary. Let me find one. Um, Alexis Ware. I'll just say Missy. Oh, this is in South Carolina too. Goddamn. South Carolina, what y'all got going on? All right. And this was pretty popular on social media, so I'm sure. Good night, Jay the Steez, or have a good day. Feel better, honey. All right. Alexis Ware was a 29-year-old woman who vanished from Anderson, South Carolina in January 2022. She was last seen at the 7-Eleven gas station off Highway 29 on Sunday, January 30th. She was reported missing on Tuesday, February 1st. Another February situation. I didn't even know she went missing in February. I didn't realize Asia went missing in February, and here we are. Happy Black History Month, ladies. Later that month, oh, that's just talking about. They made some kind of Alexis Ware Act. I want to see what happened. Let me see disappearance. I know what they say happened, but I'm trying to find a reputable source to read from first. All right, Alexis Ware is the mother of two children. In 2022, she was 29 years old and is said to have had a pretty significant online presence and a lucrative career as a hairstylist. Okay. It is said some traveled pretty far to keep hair appointments with the She loved her children and had a pretty good relationship with her youngest child's father, TJ Patterson. In January of 2022, TJ and Alexis were no longer together, but co parenting. On January 30th, 2022, Alexis and TJ were meeting at the 7-Eleven gas station on Highway 29 in Anderson County, South Carolina, where they reportedly met often before to exchange the children. It appears that during TJ picking up the kids, they had gotten into a conversation where Alexis was going to follow TJ and the kids in his vehicle to his mother's house from the 7-Eleven. Alexis was driving her red Honda following them. At around 7:30 p.m., they approach a red light and come to a stop. TJ reported that Alexis suddenly went around him at the red light and took off. No one has seen Alexis Ware or spoken to her since the evening of January 30th, 2022. According to her mother, Miss Alberta Gray, Alexis had been getting unwanted phone calls from someone, but she never mentioned who it was. She also had told her mother and family that she'd been being followed by a truck for weeks. Alexis Ware's 30th birthday was approaching, and prior to her disappearance, she cried and told her mother she was afraid something would happen and she would not make it to her birthday. According to one article, in interviewing Miss Gray, that while on the phone with Alexis on the same day she vanished, she had told her mom that there was someone outside her apartment in a black truck. And then Alexis called police. When she saw the sheriff's car leave, she ran down her stairs with the kids and got in her Honda. It was not very long after that she went and met TJ to give him the kids. TJ Patterson was cleared a year into the investigation of any wrongdoing. At 8:15 p.m. on January 30th, Alexis Ware's cell phone pinged 30 miles from the 7-Eleven in Anderson County. Her car was then picked up on on a highway camera sometime that evening in Augusta, Georgia, and then driving back into South Carolina. It was no word for a while after that, and on February 2nd, 2022, her car was found. It was found covered in mud on a very rural road and was back near a deer hunting property in McCormick County. Deer hunting property sounds like a good place to get shot. And no one would expect anything if they heard a gunshot. 70 miles from where TJ and the kids last saw her, and her cell phone and purse were in the car. Her hair bonnet that she often wore was found beside the car. The authorities did recover prints from the car, but it is yet uncertain if the prints belonged to Alexis. She was not on scene with her vehicle. This is on Reddit, and somebody in the comments said, I'm from the area and I think about it all the time. TJ was actually officially reported cleared about a year later, but I don't think he was ever really a suspect. I, anyways, this is just their opinion. It says her car being found where it was is weird because that's a lot of forest area down there. Even if they searched and searched and searched, it may be hard to find her in it. All right. So that's what is known to have happened to Alexis Ware. Let's see if I can get some answers for myself from her spirit. And I'll relight Queen of the Nile. Now, it's also not reported in those articles, but it was reported everywhere else that covered that she was a woo lady. So she practiced, she was a practitioner. She did spells and rituals. I believe she had clients that she did spells and rituals for. So I don't know why that was such a thing, but that was a thing when all the online people like were making videos on YouTube and stuff about her case. Everybody was talking about the fact that she was a practitioner. Anyways, let's see. All right. Let me shift gears for a second. Excuse me if y'all can hear my belly. That's the water. Most High Mother and Father God, please allow me to conjure up the spirit, soul, and collective energy of Alexis Ware. Alexis Ware. She was reported missing in January or February of 2022, spirit. Wherever her spirit, soul, and collective energy resides, please allow me to conjure it up. Compel her to speak to me from her soul's truth, keeping absolutely nothing hidden from me. Alexis Ware. Alexis Ware. Alexis Ware. Alexis, can I see you? I hear it hurts. It hurts when I move. I can't move, but it hurts when I try to move. That her body is still somewhere, wherever it was left. I don't believe she's alive. This sounds like a person who is unaware that their body hasn't been found and they're still kind of stuck in the trauma of their death. I think she's in a wooded area somewhere. I see her sprawled, like legs kind of, like I see her laying on the ground in grass in a heavily vegetated area, but she's laid out, sprawled a little bit. I don't believe she's alive. If I'm standing over her, then her face is pointing, is laid to the left, and one of her knees is raised closer on the left, and then the other one is kind of bent to the right, and her other arm is out. You won't find her with her flesh still attached, but I can see her when she was left there. So I still see her with flesh, but you obviously wouldn't see her with too much left if her bones haven't been carried off by some wildlife. April, not April. I just looked at the chat and JD was talking to April. Alexis Ware, talk to me about your disappearance and what happened to you. According to investigators and authorities, you're still missing. She says, I'm dead. I'm dead. I think I'm dead. And just like that, it doesn't hurt anymore. Yeah. What happened to you? Speak to me from your spirit and soul's perspective. There's going to part of it could be a part of you that isn't that much aware. What happened to you, Alexis Ware, when you left your kids with their child's father up, and what caused you to be missing for all this time? I see possibly being taken by someone. Somebody took her, um, grabbed her. They could have took hold of her and her vehicle. Obviously, because her vehicle was found somewhere and her stuff was there and she wouldn't. So this is the person, I don't want to say kidnapped, but kidnapped, so to speak. This person is wearing a crown. So they've got some weight, some pull, or some hierarchy, either in her life or in a social setting. I see this taking place outside of the town. So the fact that her car and belongings were found in a heavily vegetated area, that makes sense. That's just the stage though. So whatever happened to her did not happen to her at the time that she was seized. There was some time had passed between her being taken by someone and her whatever happened to her next. And the place where they found her car isn't where the bulk of what happened to her is. And it's not where she's located, obviously, because they didn't find her. There are parties that are not talking and will not, so to speak, know not to. It's not like they can't be forthcoming with information. They are choosing not to, even though they have it. I don't know if this is someone in the music industry or the spiritual community. It could be someone that she did work for, and that could have been someone in some sort of arts industry or drugs or arts. This could be drugs or arts, or it could be spirituality, or even both. I do think somebody was fucking with her about something. I do think that this person had aggressions towards her. That would be this person, or this would be someone ordered by this person. I think it's a hitter. This person is obviously an emperor, a rich man, or a king who would employ the services of a knight. Because this person ain't getting off their stone. They're focused on the task at hand. I believe somebody else on their behalf was stalking her. This is a consequence as a result of the stalking. So whoever was stalking her is responsible for her being missing. But to be honest, that person has somebody above them that wanted her to be missing. So the person who took her could be like a hitman of some sort. Again, I see a heavily vegetated area. I think that she still is in a heavily vegetated area, just not anywhere close to her car. I think she was shot in the head. Look, this is the person sprawled out, and I said their legs were bent and their arms were bent. I think she was shot in the head and left in a very heavily vegetated area that may not be the same vegetated area as her car, or it may be a ways off. I believe that she was trying to get away and she wanted her kids in a safe place. I, with this in reverse, there's some kind of unplanned activity or sudden spur of the moment activity. So that may have been the meetup with her father, not really knowing exactly what was going to happen to her. So I think she wanted her kids to be in a safe place. And then I think she was trying to run away. There's also her being captured, her cell phone being pinged, the cameras catching her. There's something about her vehicle. I wonder if they were able to see when they saw her vehicle traveling who was in it or who was driving. Again, I believe her last living intention was to drop off her kids somewhere where she felt they were safe. I believe she was concerned about the safety of her kids. I also believe she was getting some messages that gave her a reason to be very much concerned. I think somebody paid someone to do whatever was done to her. This person has some kind of money or clout, some kind of way, even if it's not like a known mainstream. It's somebody that's a big person wherever they are. This is her unsolved case. I think she has a concern that it will always go unsolved. There are a lot of answers to her case that only she can provide. And based on where she passed, there's a lot of evidence that is no longer found or no longer going to be able to found. Her outcome is the Queen of Wands in reverse. I don't think she's with us, but they haven't confirmed that. And it's not long enough. It hasn't been long enough for them to classify her legally unalived. I do not think she's here, though. I would like to see the death card in her outcome so that I can say she will be classified dead for a very good reason other than her being missing for 26 years like Alexis. I'll start with the Queen of Wands, her outcome, because that's her being missing. The Lovers in reversed. I believe she was kidnapped, but now who did she go to meet up with? Somebody saw her before or after they said it was her last reported sighting of her. Those people are the ones that aren't talking. These people. This could have been a client of hers. The Lovers reverse. The High Priestess reverse. This one is going to be hard to crack, I think. I don't know if they're going to get an outcome on this really quick because so much information is secret, but I think she might have done some work for someone, maybe even some love work, and something backfired, possibly. Magician. The High Priestess and the Magician behind the Lovers. I think it was a client. Somebody she might have done some work for. But I don't think she was that. I don't think everybody should take on clients, even if you're spiritual, even if you do woo. Everybody's not meant to be a line leader in that regard. And you shouldn't get into spirituality looking to become a merchant. If that's your path, it'll open up for you, but it'll open if you use spirituality for what it's used for, and that self-growth, self-actualization, it'll just open up the right paths to you that are most aligned from you. People usually think, oh, I'm spiritually aware now, so now it's time for me to take clients. And I think that's a part of the problem. Because results may vary and even backfire. Is this the same lady who they said went to her neighbor's house and had to tell them that she be burying stuff in her backyard because she does um, rituals and stuff? And I think her neighbors saw her, and she went to explain to them what it was that she was doing to let them know why she be outside burying stuff. I think that's her. Okay, that is her. She said, yeah, that's me. I think somebody paid her a handsome chunk of money for a certain result, and it may have backfire. I see some backfiring. I think they didn't get the results they want, or it might have went left instead of getting better. Is this a baby daddy? The World, the Star in reverse, travel out of town, haven't seen her or talked to her anymore. Maybe not a client. Four of Pentacles, strength. That's a lot of restraint. She was definitely taken. She was restrained, so there was really no way of fighting back, and there might have been other people. She might not have just been restrained or grabbed by one party. She was restrained in a way so that she couldn't run away. She could have been bound or some way at some point. I think that the investigators were close to finding her. But I think like that person who commented and said about where her car is, they said even if they searched and searched and searched, they might not ever find her because it's so heavily vegetated. I think you guys were on. That is her, April. Okay. I think you guys were on. I think they were on to that. I think they were close, and I think that they were on to the location. If they stay out there and cover that whole grounds, even if it takes a year or two, they might find her remains. They were close. It's also difficult to know who it was that she was doing the work for some reason. There is a lot of hidden stuff here. This is only unsolved because, for one, she didn't give too many details. And two, the people who do know might not ever talk. Somebody definitely was sending death threats to her. The person who was harassing her, they sent death threats to her. But why? Alexis, why? I also think the investigators had really strong leads, but then they would fail. And a lot of it is because of Alexis herself. I don't, I, I don't know. Something about the person who was doing this, they're hard to trace. Their messages to her were hard to trace back to anyone, maybe in particular. The incense ran out. Let me relight that. All right. Alexis Ware, speak louder. Alexis Ware, speak louder. She's definitely in the woods. She's definitely in the woods, but what happened to you? What happened to you specifically, Alexis? What happened to you? What happened to you? After you dropped off your kids, what happened? Give me details. Show me people. Where did you go after? She's close to where the investigators were looking, and the investigators probably have details that they're not releasing to the public because this is an ongoing investigation. They have people they're interested in, but they're not letting that out. They could be waiting for a person to slip up or something. She got the text message. She got scared. She dropped her kids off. It's the Ace of Pentacles because only one of those children belonged to TJ, I believe. She has a different dad for the other one, I believe. And then the Emperor. Calling the baby daddy to meet up with him in the past, like they always did. And then the baby daddy in the future. Who is he in his town? He got a little bit of clout or a name for himself. He got some money. She had 2 baby daddies. Where's the other one? This is one of them. This is the same one, I believe, that she routinely met up with to exchange kids. This kid drop off is in her past. This man is in her future. This is a father figure or a baby father figure or a husband, granddaddy, somebody like that. Nobody ever talks about the other baby daddy because I don't believe he was an active part of her life, which is why she was accustomed to dropping both kids off with the one baby daddy. So this would be her dropping off the kids with the baby daddy. And this is him presenting as very upright, a very upright baby daddy, cleared. He shows up the same way Asha's dad did, cleared. Like a concerned father. I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. I'm just saying that's how I'm reading that. Knight of Cups, though. I wonder if she saw somebody at the gas station. I know her and her baby daddy pulled up to the red light together. I don't know if he said anything to her through the window. I don't know if she looked back and might have saw a vehicle that she suspected. He was on an ankle monitor, which is why they said he was cleared. That would make sense if I feel like somebody hired or paid someone else to do it. I think she saw somebody who she might have suspected of following her right after she dropped off the baby daddy. That's why she swerved real quick around him to get away. This to me is the gas station. This is sitting next to the baby daddy here. I do believe she saw somebody at the gas station that she might have thought was somebody following her or prepared to do something. I mean, she picked up her kids instantly, took them to her baby daddy. And then as they were at the red light, she took off around him. Either something was said through the window from him, or she saw a vehicle either pulling out from the gas station or at the gas station that she suspected might have been on her. And they might have just very well been. The devil. The devil is her outcome. You know what? Again, she was grabbed by somebody, snatched by somebody. I think it was a setup. And I still am not too convinced that it's not TJ. The Emperor. Let me start with the baby daddy. Baby daddy, this is him collecting the kids, one of which is not his. The page is a messenger. He could have sent a message and said, I got the kids. And this is her spazzing out when she just jetted around him. She had reason to. I don't know if he sent a message that he had the kids or the person who was trailing her knew that by now she didn't have the kids in the car anymore because the daddy had just collected them. Let me check that page of Pentacles to see. Now, this is him. He had recently been in jail. He had an ankle monitor on, which is why here's this night again. Somebody else would do it. He couldn't. Now, I'm not saying that he paid someone. I'm saying he couldn't have done it. That's why somebody else had to. But considering this someone else who we already saw behind him being monitored, the kids in jail. So, and I think that's where it might get murky, because who knows who he, the police can't subpoena his phone for no reason, I don't think. And if they did, I don't, burner phones exist. Let me look into that Queen of Swords first. Well, no, I said I was going to look into the page to clarify whether that was him sending a message or not. Spirit, is this page a communication, or is it just him picking up his child? Is it a communication, or is it him just picking up his child? So I'm picking up the baby. He got the kids. They're not together. Oh. He was the one looked at about her death in reverse. But why the Queen of Swords in reverse behind the daddy? Miscommunication or something. Erased messages, maybe? Maybe frantic messaging? Is that her sudden pull up, pull off? Dropped off. Gas station, night. Who are you? Three of Cups again. I believe somebody else was there at this pickup with the kids. This person that I said, I think this person was also at the gas station. So her, the baby daddy, at the gas station, which is why it's Cups, and this person. That makes 3. Now, this person would have been welcomed there. They would have known to be there. This person might have awareness of her routine, her past routine with her baby daddy, to know that this is where they always drop off. So this person was a welcome party at the gas station at this drop off. And this person was supposed to spring into action once she was no longer by herself, once she dropped the kids off. Temperance. The gas station being the place where they dropped off the kids, their common meeting ground. Interesting. I don't think it was a coincidence that she disappeared immediately after dropping the kids off. And then this is her ending up in the woods. I think she was set up. Why? I'm not sure yet. Let me look at her outcome, the devil. The Lovers and the devil. These people have a relationship together of some sort. This isn't just a random person. Another night. We had the Knight of Wands in reverse, the Knight of Pentacles, and the Knight of Cups. These all knights are the ones that did it. The fact that they're knights tells me that they are paid or doing it on behalf of someone. And this is the 2 kids. I think that Alexis probably saw the person who was stalking her or harassing her immediately after she dropped off the kids. I don't know if that made her suspicious of her baby daddy, but I know that that's when she decided to get away immediately, because she probably thought, if they right there and I just dropped off the kids, they come and do me in because I don't have my kids. Out of town. The gas station is the key, because they would probably have the footage of who was stalking her and might not even know that's who they're supposed to be looking at or looking for. Because I definitely think the person was there, but it's a store. There were other people there too. They wouldn't know. But why, Alexis? Why? Alexis, did TJ have anything to do with your disappearance? The Tower in reverse. Two of Swords. This is him. This is the monitor, knowing he's monitored. And being watched. It's almost like he's so clean that it doesn't make sense for him to be the one to do it, but jail, her being the woo lady, gay, jail. That don't make enough sense to me. Alexis, why are you, why did you go missing? Why? Did you run away? Or did somebody really, really, really snatch you up as a plot and a plan? Why and who? This one is difficult for me. The Chariot, she was trying to run away. She did have every intention to drop off her kids and leave. Oh, my incense just fell. Queen of the Nile just fell. How'd that happen? Because she knew somebody was after her. They had been threatening her. She's not alive. I still keep seeing her witchcraft in here. So who did this to you? One card. Who did it? One card, Alexis Ware. Who's responsible for you being missing all this time? Page of Wands. Is the child that she has with TJ a boy? Does she have a son with TJ? Or is it a daughter she has with him? Does anyone know? Her daughter was older. The younger child is his, so it's a boy. Doesn't have to be a boy. It feels like the last person she was known to have spoken to, the last person that she was with. Okay, and the father of one of her children. Probably the younger, probably the boy. Page of Wands, King of Wands. Here she is in reverse as the Queen of Wands. He could have had some help. I'm not sure why yet, but interesting. I see something strange here about him taking care of the oldest child. Start doing woo. Unsuccessful. Let's kidnap or person's ignored because the baby daddy was cleared. You know, I think that a lot of these situations get stalled because they have people that they're curious about, but they can't make it make sense. Okay. Not saying he did, but kids, accusations, but a stall. Now, what are these? Checked his monitor after the pickup. They talked. I think they were looking for an argument. I wonder if they had got into it recently. Or if they talked, she was nervous about something but didn't say exactly why or who. Left, hasn't heard from her again. Got stuck with the kids. I will say that I do believe that her body is out in some woods. I see it laying in the woods. I don't know what state of decomposition it's in, but it's in there. I see a vehicle that she probably assumed was following her, and I think it was. That was also at the location where he met her child's father. And I think that's why it makes it difficult to find out because, for one, that could have been like nobody at the store would be able to say we saw this other car there when they're there. But my concern is that I do think that somebody was there. I don't know if the baby daddy did or if he hired someone, but how would anyone know that that's the place that she regularly dropped off her kids? It could be that this person just followed her so much that they even knew where she dropped her kids off at. But I believe that she either either the dad said something to her while they were at the red light, or she saw that vehicle that was also at the gas station with them and she took off now that it was safe to do so because she didn't have her kids with her. I'm so curious to know what their relationship was like. They broke up because Alexis was cheating while he was in prison. Thank you, April. That fills in some things that I saw. How do you know how long he was in prison? Because I saw a card there that gave me Homo thug, but I didn't know how to plug that in. Alexis, one card. Did TJ have anything to do with your passing? Now this is the picking up the kids. It's picking up the kids. But that's not just picking up the kids. Huh. Alexis, I think, was doing good. I keep seeing her client stuff here because I think she was making money. I think she was doing good, probably coming up. Who is the girl who they said that passed away that did woo for one of them rappers? I'm not thinking about the girl that was. Oh no, I'm thinking about the girl that was supposed to be doing woo for Finesse 2 times, and her baby daddy unalived her because he thought that they was messing around with each other. But she was saying she just did woo for him for Finesse 2 times. I wonder what her money was looking like if she was starting to come up. Hmm. Not together. Cheated. And then the Chariot. Never showed up. Jealous, maybe, before the death. Happy. I see the baby daddy again. She was a popular OnlyFans model. That's why I was seeing her making money. But I thought it was because of her woo. I don't think everything was so peachy green between this baby daddy. I see my son's dad here. And then the death in reverse. The Chariot. The sun. The drop off. I wonder how he felt about her lifestyle, the money she was making, the things that she was doing to make money. Kids left. And then everything went bad after that. I think it was a setup. The gas station. Okay, that makes sense because I feel like it was a musician in there somewhere. T.I.'s brother, allegedly. Celebrity. Imagine. I honestly feel like it was TJ. And that's my opinion. I've said I feel like it was TJ. And I feel like he had someone else do it because he couldn't, because he was being monitored. I don't want to say the full out intent and reason was jealousy and envy because of her new lifestyle, but I think that that had something to do with it. And I don't think that their relationship was as cute or as harmonious as is being reported. Alexis, Ware will you ever be recovered or found? Will you ever come home if you're not unalived? Because it's just my opinion. Or will you ever be recovered? If you're not alive, will your remains ever be recovered? If you are alive, will you ever be discovered? The High Priestess. The Hangman in reverse. In the woods. Ace of Swords in reverse. I think the most recovery she will get is people probably assuming that she's in the woods somewhere close to where her car was. But let me check this Hangman in reverse. Nobody's talking. Investigation just sitting there. They're not really putting a bunch of manpower behind it anymore because nobody's talking. The people that they need to talk, or they probably should, won't. And they can't force it, and they can't charge them with anything. So it's stalled. But the problem is that it's kind of like an open secret, but not one that can be proven with law. But according to our higher selves and what we assume, she left home, met with the baby daddy, and then people can assume that she was unalive soon after that because that's when she went missing. That's the only thing that makes sense. Again, 3 people were at this gas station, and one of them were the party that was harassing her. Is TJ innocent? King of Cups in reverse. This is why I said there's something gay about this card. I don't think he's innocent. I don't think he's telling everything he knows. I think it was a setup. I think the setup happened at the gas station. I think whoever was supposed to snatch and grab her after she dropped the kids off, snatched and grabbed her. But then again, he doesn't have to be. This one is so hard for me. I can't even hear her. I don't know if I'm second guessing myself or what, but this is giving me a headache. I ain't never had to wrangle with no dead person ever like this, or a living one. She ain't got to be dead to tell me, but god damn. She ain't here though. She ain't here. Maybe I'll ask why. Why were you in this situation? Why were you afraid for your life? And why would anyone have any reason to threaten or harass you? Were you in some trouble? Why were you being harassed or stalked? What did you do? Again, the gas station. Somebody's lying. A male. There's a male who is spiteful, probably, can hold a grudge. Even if you don't know they have a grudge, they could have a grudge, absolutely. Because it's an air sign, might be hard to read their emotions. They could come across cool, calm, and collected even when they're stewing. I think this is more of a baby daddy figure. I keep pulling the emperor and all these kings. In her life, a king would only show up as her baby daddy. Uh, King and queen in reverse. I'm not sure that these two had the best of relationship. I know April said that she cheated on him in jail, and that's why they broke up. Gas station. I keep seeing the gas station. Five of Wands, Six of Wands. Something about OnlyFans and then doing spiritual work. This feels like OnlyFans. This is making money between the two. OnlyFans and her new spiritual work. This is increased visibility, competition. When you become more popular and you gain more attention, you get the good and the bad with that. Something about her new life I don't think sat well with her child's father, especially since she is raising one of his kids. If he doesn't agree with her lifestyle, I'm not saying that's why, but did paid someone to help. I still think someone was paid. And behind the death card, where's her other baby daddy? I don't want to put this all on TJ. Nah, nah, nah. Baby daddy dead. She drop off the kids. I think the only thing that makes them really go in on TJ is that he looks very clean because he was being monitored with a probation house arrest type thing. But I think that he had the means and the resources to get someone else to do it. For some reason, I can't see the motive, but maybe because it's not one that would make sense to me. I think that the threatening her and stuff like that came up because somebody was feeling a way about her new lifestyle. And I think they were harassing her because of that. In a small town, you know, a regular small town girl, and you start doing OnlyFans, become an influencer, a woo lady, people find out that you're sleeping with this and this baby daddy in a small town, you have just become a celebrity. And that's bad to be in a small town and look like a celebrity but not be one. Because now you're attracting all this hate and envy. Everybody's speculating about what you're doing, what you got. And everybody is formulating reasons why they don't like you because of that. I think it's complex to me, one of one, because there are certain things I'm looking for when I ask specific questions to make me feel good about what I'm seeing. I see what I see, but I want to feel better at it. So I want certain cards, but you can't tell the cards what cards to give you. And I also think it's complex because of how it was communicated that she was going to be set up and what happened to those communications. Alexis, were the investigators able to get any useful information? Did they find her phone? That could be why. They said her cell phone pinged, but I don't know. Alexis, did the investigators find your cell phone? That could be the problem. Alexis, did investigators find your cell phone with your things? I don't remember if I saw that. Okay, so her cell phone and purse were in the car. Okay. Okay. Alexis, were the police able to look to see who was sending you threatening messages? Were they able to track your harassing messages back to who sent them? No, for some reason. Or if they do, they're not speaking about it. I think they may have. They have her phone, they've looked through it, but they haven't gone into details about that. They haven't even confirmed the fingerprints that they found on her vehicle because they did. Authorities did recover prints from the car, but it is yet uncertain if the prints belong to Alexis. This article is old. This is 2 years old. By now they know, but they have not divulged that information. So there's still a lot that they're not speaking about. They did go through her phone. I think they found those messages that she was concerned about. They haven't put it out because they're watching who they suspect. It's only been about 4 years, but they found them and they found just what she was talking about. Okay. They found the person that was harassing her. It's a person that they think did it. Might be a person that they spoke to already. I think that the investigators found some, even though they cleared the baby daddy, I think they found messages in her phone, even from him, that may contradict what he said about the state of their relationship. I think there was a conversation or a theme of a conversation that was a reoccurring thing for them, something that was constantly brought up between them, like an issue that wouldn't go away. Was she hoeing? They said she allegedly slept with T.I.'s brother. She might have been trying to get out there or hoe or something. OnlyFans, sleeping with a celebrity. I told y'all yesterday, all the spiritual hoes was, not saying she was one of them, but I see a lot of gossip surrounding her activities in the community. Again, I think it's TJ. I think he had an issue with his baby mama that everybody's not talking about, including him. The world. OnlyFans. Oh, TJ's brother, not T.I. Oh, that's even worse. Trauma found out. Gossip. Wonder if people was gossiping about who her child who the daddy was. I wonder if it was gossip about whether the baby was TJ's brother's. This is gossip. This is a child, a baby. The gossip could have something to do with TJ or his brother, or some activities that took place while TJ was locked up, got out, and started taking care of a child that wasn't his, possibly. This is the relationship with TJ's brother. This is the rumor about that relationship with TJ's brother and an illegitimate child and daddy. Funny how you mentioned that, and now I can see it. But I see it in the gossip. That would also make sense why they would have a reoccurring issue or theme that came up in their co-parenting situation. There was some, ain't April, you right. There was at least rumors about that. But I think the rumors even might have, I don't know if they went as far as paternity, but could be. I think he had some help, though. I don't think he did it with his bare hands, but I think he had some help. And I can't pinpoint the exact reason, but the facts that I can, well, the information that I can see that I believe, I think that that meetup at the gas station was a setup. And I believe she's unalived. I believe she's in the woods. I believe the authorities saw those messages that she was concerned about. I believe the authorities saw messages of things that they were interested in between her and TJ. But I believe that when they had to look at the facts, like his whereabouts and things in his phone, I think they couldn't find anything to stick with him, so they cleared him. However, I think they're withholding information that even involves or includes TJ. I think that they are waiting for some more information, some more concrete information or something like that. Spirit, do the Alexis, or Spirit, Alexis, you might not know that. Spirit, do the investigators in Alexis Ware's case have a suspect in mind? Do they have a main suspect on mind, or are they just clueless? Do the authorities in Alexis Ware's case have a main suspect in mind, or are they just clueless as to who it could possibly be? Here's this King of Cups again. The person she met at the gas station is who they're most interested in. The one who left with the kids. They think he planned it and set it up. They think he orchestrated it. So he might not have did it, but they think he created all of the pieces to the puzzle. They just can't prove certain details. The drop-off was the last time anybody saw her in good condition. And so obviously they're going to look at him. They just haven't been able to prove it, but they really are interested in the person who she met at the gas station and took her kids. They think he orchestrated it. They just can't prove it. They think there's that either picking up the child that's supposedly his, or a message. Picking up the kids, left. And they assume she's dead. Knight of Pentacles. The Knight would be the person stalking her, or... Oh, this is out of jail. Oh, this is him being watched and monitored since he's gotten out of jail. I think they think that's why he would have somebody else to do it while he's picking up the kids, because he's been watched ever since he's been released. So the orchestration would make sense to them. They think it's the baby daddy. They think it's TJ. They think he orchestrated it, but they can't collect the evidence, the 7 of Pentacles in reverse, to prove that 8. And they think she's gone, long gone. Again, they think it was her baby daddy that she met at the gas station, and they think he orchestrated it. I do too. The devil, the hangman, the high priestess. This is the spiritual stuff she was involved in. I don't know if he agreed with that or not, but maybe, just maybe, he didn't agree with her lifestyle in general. I'm talking about the OnlyFans. I'm talking about the sleeping with his brothers rumors. I'm talking about the woo, the spiritual stuff. So I will say that it's my opinion that TJ orchestrated it. And in my opinion, the authorities think so too. They just don't have enough clues or evidence to prove it. So that's what I got for today. I will see my members, both my regular members. I'm going to do regular members live. We're going to do another Reclaiming History with the Presidents. And then my inner courts members, we will do the invocation of Ishtar tonight. So I'll say, members, meet me, I guess, at 5 in the members live. And then immediately after, the inner court members will go directly into that. Thank you, Alexis. You may go in peace. I pray that you do become found and receive justice for yourself, my dear. Thank you all who joined me. Have a very, very, very blessed Monday. May all your dreams come true, unless your dream is against me. Then I smite thee with the plague of boils on your bunghole and heavy diarrhea that burns. All right? Love you guys, except for the ops. Bye.